The US is arguably marking the end of an era. President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris will be sworn in on the front of the US Capitol building in Washington, D.C., and that's expected later today. It's hardly the grand entrance that Joe Biden might have dreamed of. The president-elect is arriving in the nation's capital, ready to assume power as the nation reels from the coronavirus pandemic, soaring unemployment, and grave concerns about more violence as he prepares to take the oath of office. Let's speak now to senior political reporter Ziyanda Ngcobo, who is following this moment in history, might I add, joining us live in studio. And it is a moment in history, isn't it? An unprecedented one at the very least, partly because of the stuff I've already mentioned, but also because many have said Biden has been waiting for the better part of his political life to get here.
Certainly. So, excuse me, it's certainly unprecedented because of the coronavirus. So firstly, we won't be seeing the crowds outside during this particular inauguration, but also unprecedented in the manner in which this transition is taking place. We saw the storming of the Capitol building, of course, and we know that Donald Trump is expected to leave at 8 a.m. for Florida. So there won't be what happened when he came into office in 2017, where Donald Trump and his wife were welcomed by Barack and his wife at the residence then. And so certainly that's one of the things that will certainly go down as a marker then for Donald Trump and his legacy, and him really for the longest time continuing to spread conspiracy theories about this election being rigged, which obviously was then a build-up to that Capitol building that building being stormed by Trump supporters. And so, you know, this inauguration taking place under difficult circumstances, but we understand from reports that Biden already has a list of things that he wants to do for his first 100 days in office, and some of the key priorities are linked to what Donald Trump has been understood to have undone. You know, for instance, the climate change accord, the Paris Accord. It includes also dealing with the economy and the economic downturn that's been taking place in the US, but also the immigration travel ban then that Donald Trump seemed to have implemented, and it was very personal in that regard. And so certainly these are some of the things. And of course then the coronavirus pandemic. Biden has been chairing that particular council that is meant to be dealing and managing the coronavirus pandemic. So the things that he couldn't necessarily do while he was still president-elect, we understand that those are some of the issues that he will be attending to as a matter of urgency as soon as he moves in today.
Yeah, and you know, many people, if Biden hadn't necessarily been in the White House as vice president during Obama's administration, he might as well be stepping into the White House for the first time today, because of just the unusual way through which this transition has taken place. But you know, in the backdrop, of course, the US also marking a real grim milestone of 400,000 related COVID-19 related deaths as this inauguration takes place. How best can the administration negotiate this moment?
Well, it can't really, and this is why you won't be seeing the crowds. We know that Joe Biden will be accompanied by former presidents Bill Clinton, George Bush, and Barack Obama to the Arlington Cemetery. That's the national, almost heroes cemetery where all the fallen soldiers are, and they always pay tribute to them. So that's one of the things that will be done, and we understand then it is while they are there that the White House will be cleaned out, and everything, furniture, bedding, everything is going to be changed. So when it comes to that is the run-of-the-mill that usually happens when an inauguration like this takes place. But what is unusual, of course, is that big elephant in the room, Trump snubbing then Biden and not actually officially handing over. He will leave silently. His tweets have actually, you know, he's been closed down off Twitter. He has actually no avenue really to express himself the way we've seen over the last couple of years. Many are asking, was it really worth it? You know, and some will say perhaps then in these circumstances, it is probably the ideal situation to not have Trump hand over to Biden because of the prospective chaos that could have been caused by Trump supporters, given the fact that they believe that this election was rigged, if then Trump officially handed over to Biden today. So certainly many aspects of this inauguration unusual, but some really keeping the same.
Right. What is also really special about this inauguration, it's historic insofar as Kamala Harris is concerned.
Yes.
Here we have a first vice president who is a black woman, and that too surely needs to go down in the history books.
Oh, most certainly. So this is a significant moment for Kamala Harris, and I think for African Americans in particular, given the violence that we've seen in American cities, you know, towards the tail end really of Donald Trump's tenure. And I think, you know, that will be also one of the issues that this administration will have to deal with, the racial tensions in America. We've already heard them speaking, even former President Barack Obama speaking about the South African example and using Madiba as an example of how they could possibly then deal as an immediate, as of urgency rather, when they actually, you know, take over the reins. And so certainly they've got their work cut out for them, especially in the first 100 days, and especially because of the escalating violent scenes that we've been seeing in America. And so Kamala, certainly it's historic, but it will actually be shown through how then they deal with the racial tensions in America right now.
Absolutely. And as the cliche goes, the world will be watching. Thank you very much for helping us better contextualize that hours before this unprecedented inauguration takes place.